Hey guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at some of the new cards that dropped. So we're going to look at the hand trap lineup and generic lineup that we might want to run to deal with them. So right now, people are suggesting like maybe to run kaijus, but I don't know if running kaijus is exactly necessary. So of course, Purrely Noir is somewhat hard to out for some lists, but I mean, you can just devote one extra deck slot and that should be enough to be able to remove Purrely Noir. So just one high attack guy can do it, for example. It's not exactly consistent depending on like circumstance, because there is a Purrely protection card actually that protects from battle destruction. Let's see. Destroyed by a card and effect, not relevant, and then your next battle or effect damage you take this turn will become 0. No, that's not the one either, right? Which one was it? Am I missing something? Oh, this one. Purely delicious memory. Choose one monster on the field, and until the end of the next turn, it cannot be destroyed by battle. So we have some battle protection here. But once, if you have it twice, that'd be interesting, but simply ramming into, for example, Purrely Noir twice with Whirl Sword would be the play, except Purrely has this amazing ability called Lack of Hard once per turn. So you can detach 2 materials from this card, then target one card your opponent controls or in the graveyard. Place it on the bottom of the deck. This is a quick effect if this card has a level 1 Purrely monster's material. So if it gets to the point where you can Boral Sword run over this, maybe they'll be useful, I don't know. But that's fine. This is targeted at least, so if you don't have cards that can be targeted, they'll help you out a little bit. And you might have something that does this because it was useful against Tear Elements, because every single card in Tear Elements targets for some reason, aside from like crime. But continuing on. The simple way is just to simply stop your opponent from getting into Purrely Noir in the first place. And the other way is kind of jank, but you can just use continuous effects. I mean, it just happens to work, I guess, because it says activated effects. It is immune to activated effects, but not to continuous effects. So, I mean, if you happen to be playing, I don't know, Mikanko, I guess, then let's see, I believe it was Reflection Rondo. Equip only to an opponent's monster while you control a Mikanko monster. Take control of that equipped monster. Neither player can activate the effects of the equipped monster while you control it. So yeah, this can just yoink Purrely Noir, for example. I mean, like, yeah. That's simply how it works, I guess, you know, because this effect is a continuous because it's an equip spell. Huzzah, great. And it might be potentially a bad matchup to go into Mikanko, I guess, because you can't really target any Mikankos once they're equipped with an equip spell, so that's a bit annoying, but whatever. So, primary ways to just stop them from going into their extra deck monsters. So, first off, you can only use each effect of Purrely once per turn, for example, right? And then the problem somewhat is Purrely, which completely lacks hard once per turns. There is a soft once per turn here. During your main phase, you can reveal one Purrely quickplay spell in your hand, special summon an XYZ monster from your extra deck that mentions that card. By using this card, you control its material and attach the revealed card to the summon monster. So, to stop this, though, you know, like, Purrely is going to be a bit more obnoxious to stop, and they'll attach one from hand. So I don't think this effect is the one you necessarily have to stop. So not super worried about that. So next is you can go into like Eat Purrely Happiness, Beauty, and Plump. Plump is usually the best one because you also have this banish one monster in the field until the end phase effect. You also have this let's see. This one is, what does this do? You can attach that. Then you can return one spell trap your opponent controls to the hand. And then this one is you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. Then you can change the bell position of one monster your opponent controls. This is targeted, right? No, this doesn't target for some reason. Okay. So these effects are like not like bad per se, but they require you to like activate a Purrely quickplay spell. So that makes it moderately worse than like X-Purrely Noir, or well, I guess X-Purrely Happiness doesn't really do anything, does it? Yeah. This is all ignition effects, so it's just a big guy sitting on the board, I guess, right? And then for E Purrely Plump, this is probably one of the worst ones to deal with, but how can you possibly get like 5 materials on like these rank 2s if they're negated, right? And aside from that, we can just read this. So when you activate a Purrely quick play spell card, so first off, when, so this can miss timing. So if it misses timing, it will not attach, obviously. And then next, you can attach that card on the field to this card as material. This starts a chain. So that means every single Purrely rank 2, like all of these guys, all of them are susceptible to a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. So if you drop a Ghost Ogre, these guys will just be popped, they'll be destroyed, and that will be that. So Ghost Ogre is decent for this, and also you can use it to pop My Friend Purrely if you so wish, right? But there is a slight issue with this, being like, there's Purrely Happy Memory, which is like 3 of. Choose one card on the field, and until the end of the next turn, the first time it would be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. So that makes Ghost Ogre not as good as it would seem. Like, it is still decent. Granted, they do not have Purrely Happy Memory. If they have Purrely Happy Memory, Ghost Ogre does absolutely nothing. So if you were planning to play this against Purrely, it won't do nearly enough, because, like, assuming you're running 3 of Ghost Ogre, right? They will also have like 3 of Happy Memory probably, right? So that's rough. Not that great. So instead, there is a bit of a better option to start. So we have Evenly Matched. So with Evenly Matched, what you can do is, if you just go ahead and activate Evenly Matched, it doesn't matter if your opponent's monsters are unaffected. They could have legit like 5 arrivals on their end board. I mean, it's technically not possible to do that legit, right? But if they had 5 arrivals at like, well, what's the name of this monster again? I'm just losing it right now. The rival Cyburst at Igniser, if they had like 5 of these, they would have to pick the one they want to keep, right? And that is not bad either. Being able to wipe their board, and they do not have any actual negates, meaning it is pretty rudimentary to just activate evenly and then their whole board is wiped, right? So that's good, of course. And also, aside from like evenly, Imperm is always good. Being able to negate both effects of the Purrely monsters is pretty good. So for example, if we go ahead and special summon Purrely, and then Imperm onto Purrely, chain 2, since Purrely should trigger first, and try to search a Purrely card, and then it gets negated. So this does not like win you the game on the spot by any means, because all of these like Purrely quick play spells and then My Friend, these will allow you to go ahead and summon like another, either like, I guess, Purrely or Purrely, and that's a little bit annoying. So The best course of action, I think, would be if you were just thinking of only playing against Purrely, throwing in Small World and then making sure you have like proper bridges to kaijus. So for example, though, with Small World, if I play my Mech Knight cards, actually, let's just use Mech Knights as the example. Our best starter is kind of Girsu, the Orcus Mech Knight, followed by like Mech Knight Purple Nightfall, and then Mech Knight Blue Sky, but if I have multiple copies, I can do some funny things. So, notably, with Small World, there is one really good kaiju, actually, for us to be playing. This one is Jizukiru, the Star-Destroying Kaiju. So, this is a very high-level light machine with 3,300, 2,600 as stat line, so doesn't match, nothing matches on Mech Knight Blue Sky, nothing matches on Purple Nightfall, and we can just, like, Small World, like, Mech Knight Purple, and then go banish Jizukiru, and then we can grab Girsu. Or we can do, like, this sequence, and that's fine as well. And I believe there is something else we want, right? Let's see, World Legacy, World Armor. This has nothing really in common, but this is a combo piece you want to play anyways. It's like either this or this one, so World Legacy, World Chalice. The only thing that this has in common with this is that it is a machine. But this has the same defense point values, and only same defense point values as like Mech Knight Blue Sky. And this has the same attack point value and nothing else in common with Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. So you can do Banish Purple Nightfall, Banish World Armor, and then grab Jizukiru, the Star-Destroying Kaiju. So what's noticeable about this play is we only have 3 main decked kaijus, and since we have Small World, we're not bricking on these turn 1 as much as we might normally be, right? And I guess, like, to round this out for, like, more Small World bridges, Effect Failure probably would be the play here. So we can bridge from, like, Jizukiru, Effect Failure, Girsu, or we can do like Mech Knight Purple Nightfall, Effect Failure, Girsu, whatever. All of those are fine. You can't do like Gamma because the typing is not going to work out for you. But a general idea here is that if you're able to do Small World with kaijus, it is definitely worth doing. Like, if we look at Purrely once again, well, if I could spell Purrely. So, if we look at this again, none of the monsters have any negate effects. And that's pretty impactful because that means none of their extra deck monsters will ever stop my Small World. And then that means I'll always have decent access into Jizukiru. Just for the sake of it, I guess we'll just put in cards till we hit 40 and just do a quick hand test. So let's see, just off of this, normally you'll obviously run more monsters, but here we have Jizukiru, we have like Mech Knight Blue Sky, we have Purple Nightfall, Cracked Hand, and then we have Mech Knight Blue Sky, we have Small World here. So pretty easy here. So considering if your opponent has like a single back row, it won't do anything. None of the Purrely back row actually does anything unless you have like a Purrely XYZ, right? So the most they can do is realistically just summon like a Purrely level 1 monster that doesn't do anything, right? So what you can then do, like after like kaijuing, so in this case, like I guess I might have Effect Filler, but if we're going second, right, we're going to have an additional card Purrely, whatever. Ignore it, doesn't matter. So if this is just a monster in general, we should be able to just Small World this away, for a Jizukiryu, and then we can grab a Jizukiryu, and if our opponent has any back row, we can simply move this into the same column, and then we'll special summon Mech Knight Blue Sky, and then we have our full combo here. And also we've evenly matched to probably make them keep their well, if we want to try to make them keep their monster, we can do that as well. It's not relevant for this hand though, I guess. So next we have this, and let's say we draw another card. This card normally wouldn't be in the deck. This would probably be a monster, actually. So, whatever. We would banish a card, and then we have a kaiju, and then boom, we have combo. In general, that's kind of what's going on. So, Kirsu is still a decent one-card combo, but it doesn't get you exactly where you need to go. Kinda depends, right? But actually, let's see. We can actually go ahead and banish Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. And then banish Effect Veiler, I believe, right? Yeah, they have nothing else in common. Aside from, 0 attack. And then we can go grab Jizukiryu, because this has nothing in common with Jizukiryu aside from being a light monster. So, boom. That works. And let's go, for example, just Orcus, maybe? I'm pretty sure Orcus can do a lot of the same things. So Small Worlds, obviously, if your deck utilizes 2-card combos really well, or even some 1-card combos, Small World is definitely worth playing. For example, with Blackwing, just Sudri is a 1-card combo. With Orchist, Girsu is a 1-card combo. Mech Knight, Girsu is also a 1-card combo. With Tyr, for example, Rhino Heart is also a 1-card combo, so Small World definitely worth running. You can just grab your starter, extenders, whatever you need, whatever you want, and then you can also use it to grab a kaiju. And of course, the only thing that your opponent could do to stop you from activating your Small World is maybe an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. So, not a big deal. And you don't have to run that many kaijus. About 2 is good enough. If you're really running into Purrely, I guess, you can go for 3. But it's not super necessary to go all the way to 3. Because just having essentially 5 copies of a kaiju, 3 Small World and then 2 kaiju, is probably more than enough and has decent consistency. Well, it depends on how much you're actually seeing though, I guess. So then there's also Mikanko. Mikanko is actually super obnoxious, so Mikanko is more so what I wanted to talk about today. So Mikanko noticeably has these really annoying effects, actually. So first off, if this card is not equipped with an equip card, you take no damage from battles involving this card. So this is not a big deal. If this card is equipped with an equip card, it cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card. So that's also kind of a little bit annoying. But this isn't the super annoying part, I would say. Which one is it? Let's see. Is it this one? Ah, yeah, here we go. Purrely, the Jewel, Mikanko. This effect is brutal. Really brutal. While you control an equip card, your opponent cannot target Mikanko cards you control with card effects. This essentially makes not only their Mikankos untargetable, but also their Mikanko equip cards. So, any form of removal you have that targets is not usable. Mystical Space Typhoon, that is not activatable anymore if Purrely is on the field and an equip card is also on the field. Well, your opponent's field in this case, I guess. And that's giga annoying. So basically, all of their monsters are Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax is one way to look at it. So this is really annoying. But all of their monsters are 0 attack points. So of course this deck is a very much going second deck, so likely they will want their opponent to actually go first if they're playing Mikanko, and it is doubtful to me personally that they have like an OTK line against you, since they're playing Mikanko, like zero attack, zero attack, zero attack, zero attack, you know? And they don't gain attack or anything, so you don't have to worry about that, right? So this allows you to actually do some metagaming. Let's say Mikanko is being played right now, right? And let's say I'm actually not playing Mikanko. I'm playing something completely different. We're playing Benkei. I don't know why. We're actually just playing Benkei. Not this Benkei though. This Benkei. Let's say for some reason I felt like playing our Samurai Benkei, right? I will let my opponent go first, for example, and then boom, they might be sussing out that I am playing Mikanko now, and they'll just pass on a lot of nothing, maybe some back row, right? But then I will go ahead and normal summon Benkei and then just OTK them, right? So that's a bit of metagaming you can potentially do. And even more like mind game wise, like if your opponent doesn't know like what you're playing and you're forcing them to go first, just a little bit of a mean trick. For example, there is like this useless effect, honestly, Thunder Dragon Dark. You can discard this card, add one Thunder Dragon Dark from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished or sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Thunder Dragon card from your deck to your hand, except Thunder Dragon Dark. So let's assume I'm just playing 3 of Thunder Dragon Dark as like part of my deck, right? And I actually have some way to banish it or something. Maybe I make Chaos Ruler, it doesn't really matter. I will select to go second, and if I have Thunder Dragon Dark in my hand, my opponent is immediately going to be thinking, ah, my opponent is playing Numeron, so I will simply pass on nothing, right? And then, surprise, surprise, end phase activate Thunder Dragon Dark. So that's a little bit of mind gaming you can do, you know? So you never know, right? What your opponent might do. So if that's what happens, that'll be pretty painful to deal with, right? Well, you never know. It could just be me on the other side, you know? Just trying to debate you with Thunder Dragon Dark, trying to mind game you into thinking it's Numeron Network so I can OTK you next turn on empty board. Or maybe someone is playing Numeron. You'll never know, you know? But like, let's assume Mikanko really is played. You could use some like scummy tactics like that for perhaps some free wins. There is, of course, the risk of your deck not being able to play second, but if you can just play second, like, decently well anyways, it's fine, right? Like, I don't know, you just resolve evenly matched, and you're good anyways, right? But I mean, you lose the battle phase, so that kind of defeats the purpose of this cheese. But, aside from that, like, evenly matched, of course, is good against, for example, Mikanko. Except you don't want to really get kaiju'd all overed by, like, Mikanko, so your best bet against Mikanko is simply control decks, you know? So what are they going to do with your Mikankos if you're playing, like, Eldlik and you just have set 4 pass, right? I'm sure you can remove these guys. That's why I would say if you could remove these guys. So Eldlik is not the play either because targeting. This actually targets, did you know? And then this here actually does not target. Conk does not target, but I mean, good luck with that, I guess, right? And then, I guess then that leaves like the best option to be maybe like Labyrinth, because you play like IDP, you can search IDP and that'll work. And then Labyrinth is non-targeting destruction, and then Lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. This also does not target. And also it's a control deck. This is probably one of like the worst matchups for Mikanko. I mean, what are they gonna do? I don't know. Kaiju probably won't be enough, right? So aside from that, there are probably a few nasty tricks you can do against Purrely. So playing Droll might be like alright. If you're playing like Maxi, I would not like super advise you to play Droll and Lockbird. It kind of like has so much anti-synergy. Like pick one or the other, Droll or Maxi, if you're going to play one. But aside from that, like Ash Blossom and Imperm is probably not enough, honestly. So just Gamma sounds like pretty good, but it might not do enough. And then there is like the C cards. Aside from like Maxi, using, for example, a Contact C might not be bad. This card's controller cannot fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link summon unless they use this card as material. It kind of depends on the player, but will a Purrely player have any link monsters in their extra deck? That is the question. And I believe you do not miss timing against Purrely, as it happens. With Contact C, against Steel Element, you actually sometimes do miss timing. And if your opponent's actually playing around it, they can play around Contact C, which is pretty crazy, isn't it? Well, you can summon Contact C, and then if your opponent does not have a link to, they're going to end on essentially air, right? Against Contact C, what are they going to do, right? They can't remove their Contact C aside from like link summoning. And this is funny because if they actually cheated out their extra deck monsters, instead of performing a proper XYZ summon, Contact C doesn't work. But apparently, you know, Purrely's do XYZ summon by the effect of their like Purrely monsters as it happens, so that it won't really work. And this is an SR, of course, but if you want to really cheap out on it, you can just grab Flying C. The controller of this card cannot XYZ summon. Pretty plain and simple, you know. This is way more targeted harassment, honestly, compared to the Contact C, but it is only a normal. So, much cheaper to make. Aside from that, though, like, Mikanko's play a lot of, like, well, we're just jumping back and forth. Mikanko's play a lot of, well, how would I describe them? I would say they play a lot of, kaijus and stuff, right? Kaijus, lava golem, whatever, that's about expected. So the best form of like removal you can have, just like as a backup anyways, assuming you don't die on turn 2, Zeus can clear the entire board, and you should be doing better in most cases after a Zeus. Although you're not like guaranteed to win, if you can set up like around a format Zeus, you should be doing like pretty well, unless you have, well, your opponent has another kaiju for you, I guess. In that case, that sucks. Not much you can do about that. And then, jumping back and forth once again. So, depending on how much you hate someone, right? Well, what is the worst thing you can do to a Purrely player? Like, assuming you're going second into them is the biggest issue. Generally, going first, you're doing better, but like with Mikanko being a going second deck, that makes it a little bit more rough. So, you don't want to really get tributed over, obviously, your monsters, so I guess you'd ideally be playing a control deck of some sort, or just some kind of back row deck, or some kind of list with like some really good back row. Like, trust me, you want good back row, man. So that's good, because it's hard for like the in archetype stuff to deal with back row, but of course back row removal can be run. But even if they do run back row removal, they can't kill you with like 0 attack point monsters, so you have that going for you. So if we wanted to be a little smart, though, I believe that this should work as well to out Purrely cards, right? Kurikara Divincarnate Cannot be normal summon slash set, must be special summon from your hand by attributing all face-up monsters on the field that activated their effects this turn in your opponent's monster zones. So if you notice, this actually doesn't start a chain anywhere. And if it does not start a chain, that means it's not an activated effect. So Kurikara Divincarnate as well also will rain down upon your Purrely opponents and completely obliterate them. And there's a high chance that before you even play a card, they will have activated a card. So the noticeable one being, well, I'm pretty sure this starts a chain, right? So let's check. Purrely, and then Sleepy Memory. And there's our good friend the colon. Once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you can draw a card. And there is no hard once per turn on any of these quick play spells, and that includes the effects here, right? Oh no, wait, this one has a soft once per turn, alright. Once per turn, you can send one other card you control to the graveyard, then target one card your opponent controls, attach it to this card as material. Pretty memory, huh? And then for, let's see, this one, this card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number Purrely happy memory attached to it. There's no really hard ones per turn here, and then gains 300 attack defense for each material attached to it. So you can't really gain this effect multiple times, can you? I see, you can. Can't you? Well, I think you can. Well, I haven't tested this one, but I know for sure that Sleepy Memory can give you like 3 draws if you have like them all attached. So yeah, that one's a bit rough to deal with. But of course, if you activate Purrely Sleepy Memory, that means you activated that monster's effect, and boom, Kurikara Divincarnate is online and can tribute that monster. So this is a good option. Mikankos don't really activate their effects on your turn, so none of these monsters can be tributed over. You can tribute over like this one, Ohime the Manifested Mikanko. That's alright, I guess. It's not like the best, but you can tribute over it. That's fine. And then against this specifically though, what is funny is that Mirror Force is actually not that bad. Like, imagine activating unironically like normal Mirror Force, or maybe like, I don't know, which one doesn't one of these return to deck? This one returns to hand. Destroy all. Change all. Drowning? Yeah. Just drop like a drowning on your opponent, you know? Drowning Mirror Force. Boom. That would work against Mikanko, but I mean, would it do much for you against other decks? Not really. So, a bit awkward there. Just having like some form of recovery would be nice, but there is like this disgusting, like relatively disgusting tech that you can do with like Lava Golem. So if you have Lava Golem with your Mikankos, this is what makes it pretty annoying. So of course Lava Golem is like every combo player's like worst enemy, right? So what about getting Lava Golem twice? So Lava Golem, right? And then they can activate Mikanko Water Arabesque. So this can be equipped to any monster, right? The equipped monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. During your main phase, you can special summon one Mikanko monster from your hand or deck with a different original name than the equipped monster. And if you do equip it with this card, then you can return the monster that was previously equipped with this card to the hand. You can only use this effect of Mikanko Water Arabesque once per turn. Hey, look, this is a monster. I can equip this Mikanko Water Arabesque to it. Oh, and now it returns to hand. Oh, what'd you say? Lava Golem special summon isn't hard once per turn? Oh. I just lose my, like, 4 of my monsters, like, to spell speed, like, 7. Well, not actually, but you know what I mean, right? This doesn't start a chain, so it's not, like, reactable. So you would need some, like, jank-ass tech, like, Mask of Restrict, to not get kaiju'd for your life savings. Yeah. Isn't that awkward? And also they get to special summon a Mikanko from their deck or their hand, I believe, right? So that's a bit brutal to deal with. Honestly, I'm not so worried about like because it's like best of one format. Not as worried about like Purrely. There's like stuff I can play that's like generic, and my issue with playing against like some annoying decks is that if they don't have generics that I can run that like help me deal with them, that makes it infinitely harder to deal with them, and it's infinitely more annoying, right? To deal with. So let's see, Mikanko, Water Arabesque. This will equip to the monster, I think, right? Doesn't it? Let me see. Equip monster. Special summon Mikanko with a different emotional name than the equip monster. If you do equip it with this card, yep. So this equips onto the one you summon. So let's say we summon Purrely, then you can add a Mikanko trap, or you could do this. Nini, the Mirror Mikanko, take control of your opponent's monster. You could do that as well until the end phase, and then Harui, the Sword Mikanko. This one adds a Mikanko equip spell from your deck to your hand. You could summon any of these three, and it gets equipped with an equip card, and then that will trigger one of their effects to search, depending on which one they choose, so that's a bit annoying to deal with. I don't really know how you can deal with this that easily. And also, of course, the part where you can't target is also pretty annoying. Let's see, is it just on that one? Targeting protection. Yeah. Just Purrely. So, pretty rough having to deal with this. So, just having like a Raigeki-like effect is good enough. They generally don't have effect like blanket destruction protection. So just a Raigeki would do the job. Aside from Raigeki, like a Duster also can do the job. Duster will remove their targeting protection by removing all their equip spells. And then following Harpy's Feather Duster. What is annoying is that you can't attack into them, so you cannot clear Mikankos by like battle, but not always. It depends on like exactly what it is, right? So if this card is not equipped with an equipped card, you take no damage from battles involving this card. So if it has no equipped card, you can just run this over by battle, but your opponent will take no damage. And this one is the same, but this one is not the same as the other ones. This all innately cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card. So with their ritual monsters, they will get like one more ritual monster, but essentially the ritual monsters have the same effects as the main deck monsters, the other ones, you know. They have the same effects as if they were equipped with equipped spells, even though they are not. So this is a little bit rough to deal with. Yeah, just a little bit. So your best friend is going to be non-targeting removal, and against like Mikanko, I guess you would need something like this maybe. I don't know. Torrential Tribute. This would do it. Even if you played like Ice Dragon Prison, all of them are different types, so that doesn't work that well. If for some reason they decide to play there can be only one in Mikanko, they could. And what would you be able to do about it? Nothing, because none of their monsters are the same type. Pain. So we have Torrential Tribute, and that'll be pretty glorious, you know, if your deck can play Torrential Tribute, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's a deck that, like a water deck, and then you activate Kairyu-shin, like, I don't know, Sharks, sure. Against Mikanko's, this will do the job, this will clear the field, and maybe you can rebuild, you know? That sounds like a good plan to me. So yeah, this is a bit rough. But of course, Imperm will be your best friend. That is all you really have to hope for. Imperm, Ash Blossom, it will still do stuff to your opponent, you know? Called by the Grave actually does come up as well. Sometimes they'll like discard a Mikanko card they may need or may not need, and if you called by it, they might still have to special summon that Mikanko later, and then they won't be able to attack you with it, so they can be short lethal, giving you like a chance to try for a play the next turn, but after getting Lava Golem, you're probably screwed most times. I think the type of deck that could come back best from like a Lava Golem is probably just Pendulum, I guess, because you have Pendulum Recovery being able to pen monsters back, but you would still need like non-targeting removal, ideally, or just non-targeting back row removal, but which is pretty awkward. I mean, what else are you going to do? And you can't really like stall super well, because against like, for example, I don't know, let's say Numeron, they will play Megaclops, and they will be locked into just a Megaclops if you like survive whatever the Numeron player is trying to do, right? Against Megaclops, you can just set like a guy nearly every single turn, and that will allow you to stall until you have like the answer you need to like win the game, essentially, right? Against Numeron, you have that play. Against Mikanko, Mikanko is like not something you can stall as easily. If you already have something on the field, you're just going to get like just continuously take the damage from your monsters. So this actually gives you a good chance to do this, but if they just kaiju over your monster as well, like if you have one monster, then they can just keep attacking into that kaiju, and that's rough. But so even if you're playing like a low attack, low defense kind of deck like Sprite, this will not necessarily do everything you need it to. Even though like if they were not playing like Lava Golems or Kaijus for whatever reason, like it would not take too long for them to destroy you, you know? They will have game, right? But interestingly enough, let's see. This is all battle damage, right? You take no damage if this card cannot be destroyed. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card. This is a continuous effect. So, yeah. A funny card that you can play, though. 1 Day of Peace. Neither player takes damage until the end of the opponent's next turn. This is just an upstart. This is jank, but if you play 1 Day of Peace, this is just a raw upstart. Like, let's say I'm the going first player. So, this is a one-off, so it's not that likely, so I'm still trying to come up for, like, reasonable attacks against, like, Mikanko, but I don't think Mikanko's going to be super played. I mean, worst case scenario, I'll just pass on an empty board, I guess. But if I'm getting baited by someone who's, like, not playing Mikanko, that's, like, extra awkward, so yeah, that'll be rough. Until I have, like, a good answer, whatever. That or I'll have to play one of the decks that actually have the answer. Like, Orchist is fine because Dingirsu doesn't target and they play from the graveyard super well, and the grind on the Orchist cards is pretty crazy, so getting Lava Golem is probably tolerable, you know, and you can still play. And I don't think they'll be able to deal with Ding too well. But anyways, if we draw 1 Day of Peace, we just won't die on turn 2. And then turn 3, we'll be able to do what we need to do, I guess. Against like any deck, aside from Mikanko, if you're going second and having to play 1 Day of Peace, you'll have to kill on turn 4. Unless you want to be like down a card in hand, I guess. Which is awkward. So, whatever. But in case your opponent doesn't have a way to lethal you the next turn, I guess. I mean, they won't have a way to lethal you. So you can just pass on 1 Day of Peace, I guess, technically. But your opponent can generate more resources, so weird card. You can still remove stuff via battle, though, so, 1 day of peace. If Mikanko is actually a real issue, maybe it's worth considering. If you have it from the legacy pack, I wouldn't like go out of my way to craft 1 day of peace, but yeah. If you just drop a 1 day of peace, it's 1 day of peace, and then your opponent shouldn't be able to lethal you, probably. But aside from that, I guess maybe Nibiru would be okay, because I don't think they have any protection against Nibiru. And Nibiru just will, like, reset the board state pretty hard. Although it will give your opponent a big token, is what I would say if you're... Well, I guess it depends on your field more than your opponent's, because Mikankos all have 0 attack defense. Well, yeah, I guess. So, Nibiru might be on the table, I guess, but just passing is not good either, because your opponent isn't necessarily playing Mikanko. They could just be cosplaying as Mikanko. Who knows? If you guys recall, there was this, like, really dumb, like, epidemic of, like, bots. I don't remember which wave of bots this was, but there were a lot of, these bots, right? I believe they were, like, AFK bots. So, I don't remember exactly what they did, but I remember some people were trying to cosplay those bots. It was really dumb. Really, really dumb. And that's about all I can say about it. So those bots just basically just play to time you out, and then you can surrender or not surrender, whatever. And then there was this other wave of bots. This is probably the one I'm thinking about. I don't remember. Those bots did something. Something, like, really annoying. But I can't recall exactly what it was. I would have to, like, go back and check, I guess. But, yeah. So this is what we got here. And this will work great. For the most part, right? Having, just Kurikara, Divincarnate, Evenly Matched, Imperm, Ash Blossom, and then, like, Called By will get you pretty far. So all you have to really do is put in Kurikara, and you're probably pretty set against, like, Purrely, at least. Against Mikanko, it's a bit harder to deal with, because they're going second deck, and going second decks are pretty hard to play against, honestly, because kaijus and stuff. Unless you're playing a control deck. That's kind of just how it goes, you know, I guess. Unless you have, like, a way to deal with kaijus, so Mask of Restrict maybe, something like that. That sounds pretty insane to play, but I guess you do what you gotta do. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.